topic I wanted to bring up, well, not so much a topic, a question someone asked was, what do you do when there's moments where you feel kind of abused by your child or another child? To give you some context, this question came from a friend of mine who lives with me. She's kind of like, I call her an allo parent, which is like, in the animal kingdom, it's generally like another female in the group or herd who will just kind of co-parent and take care of your child whenever it's needed. And at some point she was playing with my son, and he started hitting her and in general just disregarding her. And for a moment she was like, I'm feeling abused here. So she asked me, like, how do you deal with that? What do you do with that? And my perspective was basically that, yes, he was abusing you, and no, he wasn't abusing you. In that you created the conditions for him to enter into that behavior. Now, okay, my son is 4.5. When he was very young, a baby, he required constant care. He was very vulnerable, very dependent, and as a mother, and if you're a new mother, it's like for the first time, you realize what it means to sacrifice yourself and to be there completely for someone else. And that's a very hard thing to do. Like, you have to break through so many comfort zones, so many ideas about yourself, about what you thought was possible, that you thought you would never be able to do, and you end up doing it because the need is there, the call is there, and you answer. And for myself, I really wanted to also challenge myself to say, okay, how much can I do? Like, how hard is this really? How much of my suffering is coming from my attitude, how I'm looking at things, more having an emotional background than coming from actual physical reality of there being, real physical limitations. And I really enjoyed that period in the sense of breaking through a lot of barriers. But as your child grows up and gets older over the months, that role is no longer required. Where it's like you have you and your child, and there's like a equation sign here, for each part of an equation. And initially the equation is at such that your child is like, it's this little vulnerable baby, and you have to take this huge role of doing like everything for yourself and your baby. But the baby starts growing, and when the baby starts growing, he starts understanding more, he starts able to do more, this part of the equation changes. And then you equally have to start changing your part of the equation. And for myself, that was really difficult. First it was difficult to break through and just completely let go of any type of choice and put yourself in that position of just doing everything for your baby. Some babies can be very, not that they're demanding, but they are such that they are very sensitive. They need a lot of care. They don't sleep well through the night. Their eating is like constant and erratic. While you have other babies who are more calmer, they sleep easily. It depends from baby to baby what kind of experience you go through as a parent. Mine was more on the extreme side. Like, he only started sleeping 6-hour stretches once he was 2. But because I so not really enjoyed, but was more proud of myself that I was able to let go of so many points of self-interest, I kind of kept doing that because I thought, oh my god, it's so cool, I didn't know I could do that. Let me stay in that role, even though now the child is changing. He doesn't really need you that much. He's understanding more about the world and can take on more, say, responsibility. Now I'm talking 2, 3, 4.5 years old. And the thing is, that initial self-sacrificing and really having to evaluate whether you can't do something for your child, whether that is based on your comfort zone or an actual limitation, that's a big challenge for a lot of people, to be really honest about why they can't play with their child for 20 minutes. You know, like, do you really have to work now, or are you just in a stressed out state of mind, focusing on lack, that you create the experience and you create the conditions inside yourself and around yourself, making you not being able to play with your child for 20 minutes or doing something for them. So I really enjoyed breaking through those things, and I think it's very important for everyone to look at those aspects and to break through them. But the thing is, you know, you get to a point where your child can do more, and you are not required to kind of be so strict with yourself, because there's more leniency in terms of your child understands that you're busy, and he has the capacity to understand that he can wait 5 minutes, and then, you know, you'll get him some food, or it's not going to happen now. And if you're personally still struggling with that aspect of dropping your own comfort zones and moving yourself to be completely there for your child, you can sometimes get stuck there in believing that that's what you have to keep doing. Where yes, it's still relevant for you to look at these points to see, okay, am I just being lazy, or am I just using an excuse to not do something with my child or someone else's child? But to also take into consideration that you have more space and leniency in how you direct yourself and your child. So for instance, what happened with her and my son was that she was, even though he's 4.5 years old, she was kind of placing herself in that position of, it's all about him, it's all about his well-being, and I'm just like, this is the situation, and I'm kind of just like not really in it, but also not really out, but everything's about him and how he's doing. And she wasn't taking herself into consideration. She wasn't putting herself into the picture. And children are very good, very, very good at picking up on those dynamics, and they will start to push those buttons. And they will start behaving. It's almost like you're inviting the behavior by not setting certain parameters. And then they will start acting out, and before you know, it's like, oh my God, this child is abusing me. But it's not that they're abusing you, it's just that they kind of see the setting you've created for them, and they take advantage of that. And it's not to be mean, it's just, you know, it's like if you give a child a big room, they're going to run in that big room, they're going to use the space. And if you put a child in a small room, they're going to use the space that's there. So it's kind of like you're just playing with the environment and the conditions. And that is kind of an ongoing process, I must say, where you must constantly evaluate for yourself, okay, my child's growing. Like, I would have it where, you know, 1 week, everything's going fine, we've got very good balance, our relationship is like just where it needs to be. Then he goes through some kind of growth spurt and developmental milestone thing and starts shouting all these new words out of nowhere, and you can see there's a change. And suddenly what you were doing, you know, equation-wise, it's like it doesn't work anymore. And there's friction and conflict. It's because this part of the equation changed, but now it's not balanced anymore, because, you know, if the one side changes, the other side naturally has to change as well. The thing is, it doesn't happen automatically. We have to consciously be aware of the environment and the dynamics that are taking place. And we have to be that force that changes the balance. So there, a little bit of insight into why your child might possibly be abusing you, or if you're a babysitter. Those are the things I looked at for myself. Who are we in our relationship towards our child? And is there anything that we need to change or balance, taking into consideration where we are at and where the child is at? Thank you for watching.